Broadcasting live from downtown Las Vegas, you're tuned in to Gorilla Cross Radio.
Yo, you tuned in to Gorilla Cross Radio. Get.
What's going on, Las Vegas? We alive, baby. Oh yeah, we got a good show on deck, and we're gonna hit the ground running. I'm Jeremy Long. Welcome to Level Boxing and MMA, where we actively enjoy act a fool, and we like people getting hit in the face as long as it's within the laws of our land. I'm joined as always, the Sportsnista CC. You over there playing on your phone? What's going on,
I'm just trying to share this thing. Tell people where we at real quick. See, look, I'm about done.
Look at you. Well, we got a lot of MMA news. And of course, on this show, we might as well be sponsored by Top Rank because we got a couple of top-ranked boxers, Jamel Herring and Steven Nelson. Yes, the much promised, much maligned Steven Nelson will actually, maybe, fingers crossed, join us on this show. He better.
I got some stuff to say. If you don't, man.
But we got some stuff to talk about first. Number one, what's going on with your guy, Gervonta Davis? He was arrested in Florida for domestic violence. Now, domestic violence is no joke, but has this man lost his ever-loving mind?
Yeah, he's lost his ever-loving mind. He should also lose a few days of his freedom as a result of this. So if you've seen the video, you can go to TMZ if you haven't. They were at a celebrity charity basketball game, Super Bowl week, and Gervonta decides to snatch up, I believe she's got at least one child with him. The woman, her name escapes me, really just put his hands around her throat. And you could see him swat at her, too, before he actually kind of forcibly lifts her up out of the chair and pushes her along the way.
Right.
My issue is, so the gentleman one of the gentlemen with him is actually his manager. His name is 6'4", and did nothing, just kind of helped to get them out of view. If you are putting your hands on her in public, you are putting your hands on her in private. I was embarrassed for her, and I was terrified for her because I knew once they got beyond those doors and underneath the stairway somewhere, it was going to be worse. So then we find out, the police report comes out that she did sustain injuries that are consistent with being struck in the face.
Right.
It's disgusting.
It really is.
Disgusting. There's no regulating body in boxing that can actually suspend him or anything like that.
Yeah.
But PBC has a problem.
Yeah, they really do. He was quick to release a statement saying, yes, he acknowledged his aggressiveness. That's what he's calling it, aggressiveness.
I got another word.
Against her, but claiming that he's never hit her and things like that. Just, I mean, an arena full of people, everyone's filming it. There's children, obviously, on the video watching this.
Right.
And, man, this guy just seems to run into trouble everywhere he goes. At some point, it's you, brother.
Yeah, it's absolute you, and they need to figure it out. Look, I'm so mad. I'm taking off my purple Prince jacket.
She's showing off
Purple
the Sportsnista.
Purple rain.
That's what she's doing right there.
God.
Covington wants to box 50 Cent. 50. He wants to box 50 for some reason. They got into a verbal disagreement on Twitter, which shock there with Colby Covington. But now he wants to box 50. Would you watch a matchup between Colby Covington and 50? If it's in the club?
Not 1 cent of it.
If it's your birthday?
Not 1 cent of it would I watch, not let alone 50. Colby Covington has also said last week that it's either a championship or bust. Like, he only wants to fight for a championship or he's out of it. Well, then get out of it. What you calling out 50 for? Got nothing else
But
to
he's
do.
not a fighter, bro. I mean, he's probably a fighter. I mean,
well, he got some people who could fight for him.
He took a few shells.
Smith and Wesson.
You don't walk with a limp, though.
Right,
Okay. I have more of these. Former junior welterweight world title holder and cautionary tale about the dangers of drug use in sports. Johnny Bumpus died Monday at 59. Now, why is this notable? You may not know the name. He won the belt, quickly lost the belt, and his whole career was derailed after that because of drug use. His win really was the starting point for main event promotions. Kathy Duva and the Duva family, and that I think that very year they ended up they went from 0 world title holders to he was their very first one, and then by the end of the year I think they had 4.
Yeah.
And it set them up for the next few decades of dominance of main events promotions. So that kind of note right there, and that's sad that his career was definitely cut short. And Kathy Duva did release a statement saying that they kind of stayed close over the years, and he always had health problems because of his drug use and things like that. So kind of notable, kind of sad, but I mean, still, he lived till 59 and world title holder. The city of Edmonton. Let's skip to something happier first. Khabib, the great champion of Russia, bear wrestler and all, he ain't having none of this McGregor talk and phantom Saudi offers of $100 million for them to fight in that kingdom and everything. What do you think is Khabib? What's Khabib got up his sleeve?
Well, the Saudi offers are real, so there's real money behind that.
Who says?
But according to
Dana. Did Ali say?
According to Dana,
okay, Dana.
I said it multiple times. And look, we already saw Matchroom Boxing already put on an event in that little tent that they got over there that they rented.
They built an entire stadium.
Yeah, in like 12 minutes flat. They put it up. So there's money there, but I think Khabib just really wants to stick it to Conor for as long as he possibly can. That fight's gonna happen.
Sure.
Let's see, if Khabib wins, he will definitely fight Conor because the UFC is gonna figure that out.
Yeah.
They want Conor to fight Khabib again and for the belt. If Tony wins, he's still gonna fight Khabib.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen one way or another. Whether it's
happen.
this year, don't know. But he's the champ. He gets the posture as long as he wants to.
Yep. If you want the belt, come take the belt. I guess.
Take it.
Yep. And I am on the side of. I like McGregor for what he brings to the sport, the eyeballs and the talk. I'm all about all that. So I don't care when guys trash talk each other. Yeah. I am definitely sick of the whole UFC ranking system that don't mean anything.
They don't mean nothing.
I know you have them because you want to pretend that these guys, are in some kind of order and that they're not actual employees of you, of your company, while you take advantage of their salaries and stuff. But being real, they don't mean anything. You're just
all things being real. It ain't real.
All things being real. And before we get to Jamel Herring, we're going to talk about the city of Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada. They are suing the training partners, trainers, and coaches of the late Tim Hague, saying they were partially responsible for the boxer's 2017 death at age 34 from a brain hemorrhage in the ring. Hague's family sued the city last year, alleging inadequate protection before, during, and after his fight against Adam Braidwood. The city denies liability, but if found liable, would seek indemnity or contribution from Hague's cornerman, and this is from ESPN, William Weinbaum, with that statement. But the city is suing the training partners, trainers, and coaches of Tim Hague, saying that they are at least partially responsible for his death in the ring, his tragic death.
This would have been a good question for a Mossberg injury lawyer.
That would have been, and we would have spoken with Mossberg, who is our sponsor. Let me give a shout out to him, Mossberg Injury Lawyers. But unfortunately, he had an event tonight, and he couldn't join the show. But they are our sponsors. That's a great segue. Kind of a sad segue. Mossberg Injury Lawyers, from accidents to injuries, workers' comp, and even wrongful death. Mossberg Injury Lawyers are the #1 legal team in Nevada. That's not just talk. They have the awards and the recognition to back that up. You can call them at 702-222-4555, 702-222-4555. And you can also join our show at any time, except when we talk to Mr. Herring coming up here. 702-608-3259. You can join the show. But while we're talking about our last point, let's go ahead and call Mr. Herring and see if he's unlike Mr. Nelson. I'm just kidding. We're going to talk to Mr. Nelson here in a little bit. I don't want this man finding me.
Sing, dance, cook, and fight. So,
kind of, and John Jones and Dominic Reyes is this weekend.
Yeah.
We're getting reports, and we're going to talk more about this in just a little bit. But already, Dana White saying that the live gate, the gate for the Toyota Center, is already surpassing $3 million.
It's a record.
And they got tickets left.
Yeah.
So, and the record is $3.2 million
Right.
at the Toyota Center.
So they're
beat it. Definitely going to pass the gate record for the Toyota Center, that big fight they're going to have there. And they still get lots of tickets. You might be looking at a $4.5 million.
Crazy.
$4 million.
That's a lot of loot.
That is a lot of loot.
For
John Jones.
Did we get him or no? We got him. All right.
Hello?
There he is, Jamel Herring. How are you, sir?
Everything's good.
Man, thank you so much for taking time out and joining the show. We're really excited to speak with you. Especially, you're so active on Twitter, man. How important is social media to you and what you're doing and what you're building as a brand and what you're trying to do in boxing?
It's very important because I feel like with the use of social media, it basically, keeps, your fan base basically in the know of things right then and there, instead of them, having to basically, look at articles and things such as that nature. So, like, with social media, if something like pops up or something that's on my mind at the time, I can easily just put it out there and get a reaction. And not only can I get a reaction, but I can also, have maybe a one-on-one discussion with the fans out there.
Yeah, so let's just properly introduce you. We're talking to Jamel Herring, 2019 Ring Magazine Comeback Fighter of the Year, currently holds the WBO Junior Lightweight strap, fights under the banner of Top Rank. Did I say all that correctly? And also 2012.
Yeah.
So you were the 2012 Olympic boxing team captain, correct?
Correct.
How did that come to be? Because there were a lot. That team was pretty steady.
Yeah, and that came to be because mainly due to my military background as a Marine, playing a big part in terms of leadership qualities. And like overall, I just consider myself a people person, so I easily connect. As you all can see, with like I said, with my social media presence, I easily just connect with people, so I can have like a good read on your personality, and so I know basically, how to approach you in certain types of situations, because everyone is different at the end of the day. I may be able to approach this individual in this manner, but it may not work for the same with somebody else. So they basically seen how I interacted with people, and they took notice of that, and that I was like easily chosen to be the team captain.
You mentioned that you're a former Marine. I've read a lot, and you've talked quite a bit about your military experience and how you came back a changed man as a result of it, the things that you saw during the Iraq War. You're also a father who lost a young daughter. Those two things could easily break a man. What did you do to kind of get yourself back to good, so that not just to get back into boxing, but to kind of to be okay in your life?
In terms of my daughter's situation, I always look at her as my guardian angel, and I never wanted to be known as somebody who just gave up or quit on anything. And I took that as, instead of I took the whole situation around her, and I tried to turn it into more of a positive outcome, and doing things the right way, not only in the ring but outside the ring, in a manner that she would be proud of me today. And, just having my military experience of, me dealing with PTSD and depression at one point in time in my life, I wanted to use the platform that I have as a world champion, and, maybe sharing my story will help others who may be going through similar situations, not want to give up, not only maybe on their goals, but life as a whole, because we know that depression is a serious thing going on in today's world. And I just wanted to use like I said, the platform that I have with social media and me being a world champion, just to share my story and reach out to others and make more of an impact on people's lives than me just being a world champion inside of the ring.
Now, you're talking about your story. Your story actually begins when you were in your teenage years, and if I have it correctly, you started boxing because you didn't make the grade to play basketball. What was that mindset like of going from basketball to boxing and today? I mean, do you think I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020, but do you think you made the right choice with boxing over basketball?
It's crazy. Like my choice and just to stay involved with sports was because going back to my background where I'm from in New York. I was never the type of kid that wanted to hang out in the streets because I had friends that stood out in the streets and they either lost their lives or they ended up in incarcerated. So when I started saying things like that, I had to basically figure out a way to keep me from going that direction. And like I said, sports is my outlet. But when I was falling off track because I was hanging out with certain friends, it started messing up with my grades and things of that nature. So which is why I got cut playing basketball, and I was introduced to boxing through a friend. And when I went to the gym, I was basically just doing it just to like I said, stay busy and stay out of trouble. But I still remember my first time going to the gym, and I just fell in love with it. And it actually wasn't until the 2011 Olympic trials where I thought that I could actually go somewhere with boxing after I won the Olympic trials that year. And that's when it's funny when I tell the story because I actually had under 100 amateur fights because during my military career I had to go through 2 deployments to Iraq. So when I in between my deployments, I had to basically pick up the sport of boxing again and learn fast how to keep up with the amateur system. So when I started, just doing lots of tape studies and concentrating in the gym, and then when I was getting, through the ranking, through the Olympic trials, it wasn't until maybe like literally the semifinals when I told myself that maybe I could actually, make a mark in boxing. And it was actually from there is when I decided just to, focus more of my attention and making the Olympic team and, going further.
You caught the eye of more than Bob Arum in Top Ranks because you actually made a cameo in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, his upcoming film, actually.
Yeah.
Well, how did that come about? How did you end up in the movie?
Oh, it's funny. Like me, I'm the type of guy who likes to stay busy all the time, and that just comes from my military background. Me and being in the military, we're always on a go somewhere. So in between, my fights, I actually was just, browsing through the internet, and I was looking up, things just to get my face out there more to the public eye, and that actually came across, I think one of my emails, and I just applied for it, and they called me back, asked if I could like, because right now I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, so they asked if I could fly to, New Jersey, and just, shoot for the role, and I just quickly boarded a ticket and went from there. And it's a funny true story. When they see me on the set actually hitting the bag, they knew that at the time because they know I had to shave and I had to give it like a 1950s haircut. So they didn't exactly know who I actually was. So when I was on set and I was like working out and I was like really working out on set, hitting the bag and everything. It was like, yo, look at this. Like, who is this kid? Who is this guy? So it was to the point where I spoke to one of the producers, and then I told him who I was and what I did. And this was after I won my first world title. And then it actually grabbed the attention of Steven Spielberg, where he came over and we started, talking. And he was just amazed and shocked and honored that I was on set. And I just went from there. And then, I had a great time. I got to learn how much work goes into just actually doing just one scene, how much work goes into it. But it was a good experience.
Now, West Side Story is a musical. And we're about to have one of your stablemates on in a little bit, Steven Nelson. He sings. Do you sing? Like, you sing and dance and none of that?
Steven, Steven is a man of all trades. I mean, this guy, Look. You just saying that he sings is actually a new thing to me, but I'm not surprised because
Yeah.
I've seen Steven put together a whole bathroom set to by himself. I've seen Steven, paint portraits. I've seen Steven wire electricity, and then like to remind you all, I went to my MOS school in the military was to be an electrician, and I'm pretty sure that Steven can probably wire up a house far better than myself. So I'm not surprised that Steven, is a singer, and I'm pretty sure he could probably do voiceovers for cartoon characters if he wants.
You didn't do any. You didn't do any dancing in West Side Story.
No, that's one thing. I said, let me
what?
throw it in. Let me just let me give me the role of beating on something, and I'm fine with that. Like that's what everyone was curious about. Like even at Tavern, like, wait, you're on the West Side Story? Are you dancing? I was like,
Right.
no, I'm just boxing. It's like, it's a musical, right? I'm like, yeah, but I'm not dancing and singing. Like, no, but I got to actually see. I actually got to like. When I'm working out, I'm glimpsing them from the corner of my eye. I'm like watching, like, and I'm just like, they've done like the singing and dancing like live, like
Wow.
literally had to been at least 20 times over
Yep.
and over. And that's what I meant by I got to see like what goes in just in one scene, and like it was amazing, and it was just a great experience. But I can actually put a notch under my belt now.
That is awesome. So you're trained by Bomac. How many fights
Yeah.
have you had with Brian McIntyre? Is this going into your third now with him?
Oh, I believe we had five fights now together. 5 fights, and I can honestly say that each fight with the team, I've gotten better and better from my setback back in 2017. So it's been a great time with them, and from the beginning they accepted me as one of their own and treated me like family. And the best part of it is, when you got Terrence Crawford in the camp, you
Right.
think because for most cases I've been in camps where the top guy is always the one begging for the most attention, but with Terrence, he's a real down to earth guy, and he's actually a real funny. He's actually a real funny guy. He has to play around, do practical jokes and things of that nature. It's just that the Terrence we normally see on TV is like the mean street guy, but when you get to know him, he's actually a real laid back, funny guy, and like you can literally call him up for anything and he'll be there for you. And he just wanted and for the most part, Bud just wanted to see me succeed and do well. So it was to the point where he would actually take time out of his busy schedule when he's not getting ready for a fight and come down to Colorado Springs where we would finish up our camps at and just help me out and work with me and just mentor me through the weeks of camp, and that just makes training a lot more easier because the tougher the fights get, the tougher the competition gets. Of course, the tougher it is to get prepared for yourself in camp. And when you have a great team around you, such as those guys, including Steven and everyone, it just makes it doesn't make camp seem like it's work. It makes camp seem like it's just a fun environment. And while you're working hard, you're having fun at the same time. So you're not really thinking about, oh, I got to go get up for this. No, you're just excited to get to the next stage of camp each and every day with those guys.
Yeah, speaking of all in the family, you walked out Clarissa Shields recently.
Right.
What do you think about what she's been trying to do for women's boxing and kind of the blowback that she's getting from women who've been in the sport or for a long time or who are now retired? Like you saw Cecilia Brækhus
Right.
and Layla Ali kind of like team up and try to bully her a little bit recently. What do you make of that?
I'm glad you brought that up because, like I said, I love Clarissa, but I can always tell her straight up and straightforward that I don't always agree with everything that she says or how she approaches things.
Mm-hmm.
And I get, she's still growing as a woman, so that's why she has someone like me that's around her because I've known her since she was about 16 years old. When we was coming up in the amateur ranking still, and even when I went on to be a pro and she stayed in the amateur system for her second Olympics, I was always there for her to give her advice and sort of like a big brother role. But on the positive side, I feel like she's doing a great thing in terms of being vocal for for equality that she's pushing for in boxing as a female fighter, especially with the platform that she's using. I think it's a great thing. I also pointed out maybe a couple of weeks ago when the whole Layla Ali thing had to me, in my opinion, got a little overboard. And I just wanted to point it out that, I love and respect Layla for what she's done, because if it wasn't for women like her, who knows where women's boxing will be at today.
Correct.
So
Yep.
you have to give Layla her proper, respect, because, she's made her mark, and she's probably one of the reasons why you see most of these women today, going so hard to, to get to where they're at in their career. And then, then I also, split in at the middle. I said Clarissa's doing a great, job being of, that, when people look at women's boxing today, like it or not, they always have to mention her in the name of those
true.
women. And of course, I respect women like Katie Taylor, who's doing a great job over there in Ireland. Another star that needs to be looked at is Sunisa Estrada from LA, who actually had a phenomenal fight with my Olympic teammate Marlene Esparza recently. So and it's because of women like Clarissa, and I can't forget Michaela Mayer as well. But it's because of women like Clarissa today. It actually makes me tune in more to women's boxing. Because like I said, when I was young, all I knew was maybe the Ann Wolves and Layla Ali.
Right.
But today, I can actually because of women like Clarissa and others, I can actually sit and now recognize and acknowledge and respect the craft of the women that we're seeing today. Because as time goes, every generation, if you look at it, the styles of boxing alone, they evolve from, we don't fight like they did maybe in the 1940s and 1950s anymore. So that goes the same way when you look at even women's boxing. A lot of these women that are actually on top of their game, they actually have a lot of skill and craft that even I say that some men can learn from, because they're taking this craft a lot more serious than they may have done 10 years ago. Like I said, now we have women in the Olympic, sports now, and so I feel like she gets a lot of heat, and I understand, like I said, because I even have sometimes I have to go text her like, hey sis, you shouldn't have said that, and maybe you should take this down, or maybe you should reword this how you said it. So yeah, there's times I do have to go, I have to check her at times, but for the most part, I commend her for sticking to her guns and never backing down.
Yeah, well, she's certainly not going back down. That's the Flint in her.
Oh, yeah.
So speaking of backing down, it looks like the ink is almost dry on you and Carl Frampton in Windsor Park in Belfast in June. When's that going to be official?
Right.
Or is that official already? Because he's still recovering, correct?
I wish. I wish. That's why I'm constantly been on social media as of late. But like I said, I believe it's a 90%. It's 90%, finished. Like I said, all we need is the ink on the contracts, and I'm actually happy to speak about it because a lot of people looked at me crazy because I'm actually excited and willing to go overseas to defend my title, but I'm a respectable guy, and I tell anyone that I'm a fan of Carl Frampton. Of course, it's not going to stop me from handling business when the time comes.
Right?
But
you still will.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. But I'm also I'm also respectful to give him respect. Like at the end of the day, I believe Carl Frampton is a 3-time world champion in 2 weight divisions.
Yep.
So he has a resume. He has a name. He's been a great ambassador to the sport. Why not? And why not, go over there to his side of the park, and fight in a live stadium. I mean, how many fighters today can say they fought in a stadium with over 20,000 fans?
Yeah,
so
not too many.
Not too many. And then on top of that, it's like, I wanted to break that whole thing that Americans can't go overseas to fight because they always have to fight against not only the opponent but against the judges. Right. And I feel like as long as we have fair judging, neutral judging in play, I'm all for it. And I also look at it like this: why is it okay for European fighters to come over here, and fight, and not and we expect them not to put up an issue with fighting over here and cry about it, and they do it, willingly at times, but when we do it, we're supposed to act like we're too good for that, or we're better than that. Like, no, I mean, if you want to make boxing truly a global sport and you want to prove that you're a world champion, and I take that title very, very serious. I'm not just a world champion that just wants to fight in the state of New York. I'm like, no, if I'm gonna be a world champion, I'm gonna go where the people, want to see me compete at, and do my best to get to leave a lasting great impression with them once the final bell is rung. And that's just how I look at things. You can call me a throwback fighter, but I look at it as I've been through the ups and downs of boxing. I've seen the good and bad in terms of the business behind the scenes. So I don't have too much worries about what takes place in the future. I'm just humble and grateful to be where I'm at, and I just want to go out there at the end of the day and just put on a great show. And it's just I'm pretty sure you guys all see it. Also, it's just been a great, tremendous, overwhelming feeling of I'm getting a great reception from Irish fans, from the UK fans who want to come out. So because let's be honest, a lot of those countries they don't get those type of big events. So when they do get it, they're going to come out and enjoy it while they can. So if you're smart as an athlete, why not take advantage of that audience and go from being a national icon to maybe potentially an international superstar?
Yeah, Bob Arum said recently that the problem with boxing was that people aren't coming out to see the fights. He's been very, very transparent that 2020 he was going to be taking these fights to international arenas, talking about China, but unfortunately they had to pull out of that Jose Ramirez fight because of the virus. And but also places like Belfast on the table, certainly the other parts of the UK definitely on the table. So do you align with that thinking that maybe you've got to take boxing internationally to get people to come out and not so much focus on the US audience, or is there something that you can do to better engage the US audience to come out?
I'll just start off by saying this to begin with. My actual first choice option, of course, me being a New Yorker,
New York, yeah.
was to have a dream fight at the Garden. Of course, I'm not stupid. I know the demographic. I knew Carl Frampton being from Northern Ireland. Of course, the Irish fans would come out because they love the Garden. And then it was home, and I would have my crowd come out. But me being also a businessman at the same time, I seen the bigger picture with going to Belfast. So when they presented it to me, they was actually more shocked of how open and willing I was going to do it, because at the same time, Carl Frampton, he's not my mandatory. I don't have to fight him. I don't have to go over there. But I felt like, I respect Carl so much because he's actually one of the only few guys out of the top contenders and champions that actually wanted to fight me. So, to show him my love and appreciation for that, I was willing to go over there. But to go back to what you're saying, Bob does have a good point. I mean, when you look at some of these fights, I mean, just let's even look at the fight over the past weekend with Demetrius Andre. Demetrius Andre is a great friend of mine. Tevin Farmer and JoJo Diaz, they're a great friend of mine. We all know JoJo was one of my Olympic teammates. Right. But when you look looking from the outside on TV, and you see that there's so many empty seats and empty rows, that tells you right there how the market is looking. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, back in the old days, promoters were really getting their bulk of the buck from ticket sales. I mean, now they have it to where a lot of these promoters where they're cutting deals with the networks. That's where they're getting a chunk of their change. But I'm pretty sure it still would help. That they get a great audience to attend these fights as well. So, I mean, if we have to change things up, I'm all for it. But of course, I will hope and love to see, the American crowd come back out and support these events. But I mean, we all know, like I said, the UK, for instance, they love their boxing. So why not? I mean, especially if they're showing their love and appreciation for us, because we're considered the foreigners in that scenario. But if they're showing their love and appreciation for us, why not go over there and give them a show and potentially, come back again, maybe a year or so down the road. I mean, even look at guys like Canelo. Canelo could easily come to Vegas and sell out, but he was willing to sit down at the table with Murata and fight in Japan. So, I look at if he's willing to get out his comfort zone and to show his superstar status, to the world. Why can't we do it?
Well, speaking of, we're kind of rolling with the punches and kind of changing for the times. Before we let you go real quick, what do you think, what is your opinion, I guess, is probably the better phrase, of these YouTubers and these YouTube fights being made, these Logan Paul and Jake Paul fights? Is this the new thing where, to get eyes on the sport, we got to go to these guys with 25, 30, 40 million followers on YouTube?
Okay, all right. I'm glad you asked that. Because
You got something to say about that?
Oh yeah, I always got something to say about everything. But I try to keep it in a respectful manner. All right, when I look at that, the only issue I really have, of course, I don't really, I'm not really for it, because I look at it like this. There are kids out there that, that committed their whole life to boxing. If you look at it from the kids, from the amateur system, and I feel like, in terms of the financial side, these kids, they give their all to boxing, and they're making a pretty maybe decent living. When they get to the pro rankings, and depending on the platform they're on. Mainly, let's say with the zone, 'cause that's where most of the YouTube fights are taking place at. And it's like, I look at it like it kind of like hurts me to see, like, okay, here's a kid who's given 20 something years to boxing, and he's not even making a quarter of what this YouTuber is making. And yes, I respect that people argue, well, they have millions of fans. Okay, that's fine. But I look at the YouTube thing right now, I look at it as it's more of a way, the means to getting subscribers more than selling tickets. 'Cause even like I said, when I looked at the fight in Miami, you had these two popular YouTubers, but I didn't see that popularity in that crowd. But these guys are going home with like 900K and up, which is crazy. But I'm not mad at it. Hey, make your money. I'm not gonna tell you what you can and don't deserve. That's not for me to say. But I look at that as more of a thing in terms of subscribers. So I can't really say if that's going to be a new thing across the board. Like I highly doubt you ever see that on Showtime or on Fox or somewhere. But and I don't have like I said, I don't have an issue with that with that taking place. My only issue with it, and I'm sure you all can agree, is that when you take a fight like that, with a 4-round or 6-round fight like that, with guys who have no real experience of boxing, and you put it over a world title fight.
Yeah.
That's my only problem. Like, you got guys that, gave their whole life to boxing, like JoJo and Tevin. Mm-hmm. And it was actually, a great showcasing by JoJo, but his fight, was under a fight that lasted, 45 seconds, you know what I mean? Like, and that's crazy. Like,
that's
and I'm pretty sure those individuals probably got paid more than JoJo and Tevin put together.
Yeah.
So that's my issue. Like, if you're gonna put that on the card, put that on, as the opening. Because if you want to sit and cry,
swing bout.
Exactly. But so if you don't sit there and cry that, the reason they do it because they have these millions of fans. Okay, I'm sure these millions of fans will. Well, if you so bent on them tuning in, I'm pretty sure they would tune in when the card starts. If you have so much faith in them being on the card because of their fan base, but I don't see anything changing in terms of the viewers. If anything, I see more complaints and jokes and laughs on social media about these fights. But I see another one is popping up across in the near future. So we'll just see. But like I said, if you're gonna put these cards on, don't put it over guys who have been, who give their lives to boxing, for a living, and it just looks like a joke at times.
Fair enough. Really appreciate you. Thank you for coming on and being so candid. Hope to see you in June, if not before that.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so before June. But like I said, it was great speaking with you both, and we can, like I said, we can always chat again. I have no issue. I'm open to anything. It's always great to talk boxing with people. And then thank you for the platform. Thank you for letting me, for sharing your platform with me.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, there you go, Jamel Herring.
Yeah,
he's fired up.
He's hot.
My man's got opinions about everything. You name it, he's got an opinion about it, and I like that. I like that. I don't like it. People that just sit there and go,
whatever you like.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Can you imagine like what it'd be like for him being the captain of the Olympic team?
Uh-huh.
Like that's a whole lot of fire.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of fire. And
So I
so
think we got another
Quan, Quan's playing with the music over here.
Trying to get the right background. It
Hold
smells
on,
like keep pulling up some weird ones.
like let's show Quan.
So in a second after we're done, I guess doing slow jams over here, we're gonna talk to his stablemate, Jamel Herring's stablemate, Steve Nelson, who's gonna join us, and we're gonna ask him about his singing abilities. Apparently, since Jamel outed him with his singing abilities, so and also he can wire up a house.
I guess so.
And he's a man of many talents. He called him an old soul.
Got a
Right?
lot
He's an
going
old
on.
soul.
Yeah.
So we'll talk. It was great. Speaking of going back to the YouTubers, I know we talk about this a lot. And we of course the fight out there is kind of being Logan Paul and Antonio Brown being discussed. They've both verbally agreed to it. Jostling back and forth. Looking at it, and it does make sense in the short term. And I know we talked to Jay Chaudhry a few weeks ago, and he talked about the exact same thing. It's all about subscriptions. DAZN's trying to build their subscription, base. ESPN gained a lot, like 500,000 subscriptions. Right. I mean, yes, that was with McGregor and Cerrone, but it's all about these platforms now. And that is kind of the future with boxing.
Yeah, you got to meet these kids where they are.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised for the next big fights in the next coming years to end up on Twitch, on some of these other.
You have a TikTok fight?
Yeah. Well, a TikTok fight. Yeah, it could be a YouTube fight. These TikTok fights. But, like you just said, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. You got to meet people where they are. And if people are on Twitch or they're on Mixer, which is Microsoft's platform, then that's Twitch for Microsoft.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Mixer. They paid that guy Ninja how many millions of dollars to go over there. And now we have Steven Nelson joining us. Steven, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Oh, man, we're rocking and rolling. You know what? I'm going to start off with this, and I will give you a proper introduction after I say it. But we were just talking to your stablemate, Jamel Herring, and he told us you are quite the singer, and that maybe we should press you on that a little bit, maybe get some bars out of you.
Oh, he gonna get me for that? No, like everybody know, like Steven So Cold Nelson can do anything except sing.
Is
like
that
that's the one thing that I don't do.
Is that right?
So he knew that, so he tried to give me. He tried to get me with a fast one. Nah.
That is so funny. You wouldn't be surprised. So we are speaking with WBO and NABO super middleweight champ Steven So Cold Nelson under the Top Rank banner. You are a busy guy. I see you making all of your ring clothes. We heard that you could rewire a whole house, do some plumbing, you cook, and I see you doing some relationship counseling too on your in your social media as well, and doing some skits. I saw the skit on waiting for a woman. And you were sitting there, and she kept saying, "I'm ready." And you were like, 5 more minutes. You're like, "I'm gonna just go." I don't know what you're talking about. Women don't do that. Stop. Play too much.
Right. I'm a So Cold the comedian, the handyman, the plumber, the roofer, the barber, the tattooist, the mechanic, the boxer.
You doing tattoos?
I do it. Yeah, I've done some. I don't. A lot of things that I can do, I don't like doing. I don't really do them, but I can do them. The tattoo's one of them.
Now, have you always been like that, or is that something that the Army instilled in you, or have you been like that since a kid?
I've always been a kid where instead of being jealous of another human being, I just like, well, let me see how he's doing that. I see what he's doing. I'm like, I'm about to figure it out and learn it. You know, like the first thing I can remember that I was that way with is when I was in the 4th grade. Like the first week of school, there was a guy. He was drawing Dragon Ball Z pictures, and he was selling them for $1. And I was like, oh, this is dope. I thought I can do that. So I tried to draw my Dragon Ball Z character look like a Pokemon. And I was like, man, I'm about to figure this out. So I kept working and kept practicing. And by the end of the school year, I was the best artist in school.
Wow. It's a
I
little
was
bit of
the best artist.
perseverance,
So,
huh?
yeah, so I'm like that with everything. I'm like, man, you know what? If he can do it, it's some way he's doing it. I just got to figure out and study how he's doing it, or look it up or figure it out, and I'm gonna be just as good as it.
Now, I mean, that's a valuable skill that a lot of people don't have. That to find it out and being curious and figuring that kind of stuff out for yourself and everything. How is that parlayed into boxing and what you see like with your opponents and your and how your career is playing out and things like that? How does that translate into what you're doing now?
Well, boxing is the first thing that I've done that has taken every part of me and combined it. From being an artist, because boxing is an art, at the end of the day. From being an artist to being physical and this being a busybody to wanting to be athletic, just everything like intelligence. You have to use your brain and figure out, an equation to figure out how to overcome what you're going through in the ring, and you have to adjust. And I'm like, when it comes to adjusting and learning fast, I'm very strong at that. That's one thing. Like my best friend Terrence say about me all the time. Like we be in the ring, we be sparring, and he'd do something, and right afterwards I do exactly what he did to me to him. That's how I am as a person. I just emulate it and perfect it.
Yeah, you mentioned Terrence Crawford, and I had seen you told this incredible story about you and Terrence. So you turned pro in 2016, but before that, you knew Terrence back in Omaha, and y'all had some run-ins with some folks who weren't so friendly. And the story that I heard was that it was the two of you and about 20 other dudes.
Yeah.
Can you fill in the blanks in this? Can you tell this story, please? Before I make it up.
Well, yeah. Well, I grew up in the bad neighborhood and around the wrong folks. And Terrence, he was right there with me. We grew up. I've heard Terrence's name and everything when I was about 10, 11 years old, being a boxer. But then the first time I ran into him was I was 13. And ever since then, like we would hang out, we would go out together and just have fun. And one time I got into it with some guys at a party. We left the party, it was an area where everybody hang out with after the club. It was the gas station, Amico, and Burger King. So we're down there hanging out, and somebody come up to me like, "Hey, that dude you was beefing with earlier, he crossed the street and he looking for you." And I'm like, "Man, I ain't worried about that." And Terrence was like, "Oh, well, shoot, if they want to fight, let's go there, Steven." He's like, if anybody jump in, I got you. I got your back. So I go over there. Long story short, I walked up to the dude, and the dude swung at me, and I was like, this is before I started boxing. I slipped it and threw a hook. Boom! Knocked him out. The whole crowd just paused and looking at him on the ground laid out like, oh, my God, he just knocked out our homeboy that quick. And all of a sudden, they just saw, oh, no, we got to get him. They all just started rushing me, and it started jumping me, and I look over, and I'm just swinging. I just kind of look over the corner of my eye, and I see Terrence just laying out dudes. One hit, boom, boom. They just laid out on the ground, knocked out. Then the guy I knocked out, he get up, and he's dazed and confused, and he started fighting his own brother because he didn't know, like, he was coming out of it. He started fighting his own brother. End of the day, like, I look up, man, these dudes all laid out, and then Terrence, the dude was off me that was jumping me, and we just walked away, a couple nicks and bruises on me, but walked away, like, with my hand raised, I guess you should say.
That's the kind of
And
friend that everybody need, right? But it sounds like he got you
right.
into the fight, first of all, but at least he got you out the fight too.
Well, he didn't necessarily get me in it because like where I'm at, where I grew up at, like either I was gonna face some men or it was gonna be later on at school. Went to school together and everything. So I was gonna end up fighting the dude anyway. So to let it go out there in the street in their school and get kicked out. So then it got so bad where I was just in the streets and with the wrong people and the wrong crowd where it just got to a point where my own family didn't want to hang out with me because every time we went somewhere we would get in fights and get jumped and everything. So got to a point where I'm like, man, I need to get out of here. I need to do something.
Right.
That's cool. Because I'm talented, I'm smart. I need to get out of here. And that's why I decided to join the Army.
Now, could you have ever imagined that? I mean, from those humble beginnings in Omaha and fighting and still having that friendship with Terrence and everything, could you imagine the path that you've taken to the Olympics and the Army and then professional, now having such great success? Was that even a thought, a glimmer in your eye?
Well, the boxing was never. It wasn't even a slight thought. Well, it was. I had a couple of dreams before when I was younger, like me being Mike Tyson, but I never really thought that I would be a boxer. I went to the military, and my job was satellite communications, and it was all part of the plan to use the Army to get out of my situation and do something better in my life. But I always picture myself working and doing something technical, like I said, satellite communications. I tried to go to school. I started school for robotic engineering. That was always my dream, to build robots. First off, that was always my dream. I want to build robots. And
what are you building robots now? Like,
no, I mean the closest I do to it is electrician, and I'm like very good at like fixing, building things, like weird, crazy things. But I haven't actually went to school for it. But that is my plan one day.
Well, you see, I mean, they have these videos now, these robots that can open doors and do all that kind of stuff, man. I mean, you want to build robotics like that.
Yeah, that's like anything that where it's a computer running something and it's doing it itself, that's a robot. And that's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to take something take nothing and make it work to be something.
I need me a robot right now.
Yeah,
to clean my
you're going to build a
stairs.
Terminator. That's what you're going to build. I have a feeling you're going to build the Terminator.
Yeah, as long as you don't end up being like a Terminator and trying to take over the world, yeah, I'm okay.
No, you know what we need is like a modern day version of like Rock'em Sock'em robots, like electronic ones.
That'd be dope. Electronic robot.
Yeah,
I think they made a movie about that a couple years ago with Hugh Jackman.
That's right.
Yeah, it was. But I always like picture when I started boxing, I'd be that'd be dope. There used to be this TV show where people build robots.
Yeah.
And it was like cars, and they would fight and try to see which one would stand up last. But imagine building a fighting robot and have a TV show. We built a fighting robot and competing against other people who built a fighting robot. That'd be dope.
Man, we need to do that.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? After this, we're all going to talk. I want a percentage of this. I'm in. I could see us building. We could build some robots, and we could do some human robot fighting too, as well.
Yeah,
we can solve a lot of problems.
And then we ain't got to worry about no humans getting beat up and getting brain injuries and stuff in the ring.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Robots, crashing robots. Let's fight robots.
How about that? So you just fought recently. You got anything on the horizon?
My manager is actually in Vegas right now, having a meeting with Top Rank to figure out what's the next move for me. I know my contract. I have to defend my title within 4 months, so I have until May 11th.
Okay.
So I'm thinking April, May time frame. I'll be fighting again.
Is there anyone you would prefer to face, or can you release any names that you would like to stand across from?
Hot division, dude. Hot division.
I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even pay attention. I don't pay attention. I'm the type of person where you put it in front of me and I'm going to figure out and knock it down. I don't really be like, oh, I want to fight him. I want to fight him. I want to fight him. Like, nah. I let my manager do all that, my coaches, and I just answered the call.
Well, that's it,
Yeah.
man.
That's
I mean,
how my coaches.
that's half of it is just
Yeah.
showing up, and I mean, I like it, man, because it's
Yeah.
you seem like an old soul. You do all this other stuff. You work with your hands, and you just kind of one of these throwback boxers. You're like, I don't care who's across from me. Let's throw hands.
Yeah, because like I say, like boxing is never my dream. It's just something that I learned and picked up and was good at, and I'm just having fun with it and enjoying my life doing it.
Well, man, before we let you go, everyone's always got people to shout out or sponsors to mention. Man, give those people a shout out. And where can people follow you online?
I'm very big on Instagram. Stephen Nelson Boxing. I have a Facebook fan page, Stephen So Cold Nelson, and I just started a Twitter that I've been trying to build up. So you guys can help me build it up. It's So Cold Nelson.
So Cold
Twitter.
Nelson on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a little bit of work to catch up to Jamel Herring because he's all over Twitter,
Yeah,
man. So
he got a blue check mark, and
Yeah.
like, man, he's always online, man. That's one humble guy. He talked to everybody, like fans, friends. It don't matter who it is. He would respond to you. Like he's on there. I kind of think he has two other people help him on social media. But I don't know how he did it.
Listen, what you got to do is hop on Twitter and do some lives, like when you're cooking or when you're putting together your outfits or if you're knocking like out a sink or something like that. That's what you got to do. Get on there live a couple of times. Plus, I want to see what you're cooking.
That's what I have a problem with because I'll go do a job, I'll go fix something, and then halfway through the job or after I'm like, oh dang, I should have recorded it. I should have had
Man,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting. Like I be so like mentally into what I'm about to do that I just forget about sharing it with the world. That's why like my plan one day is to have like a camera crew to follow me around for a couple of days and show the world what I do.
Yeah,
Like,
it's called a cell phone.
Yeah.
Called a cell
But then
phone.
that takes like everything I do is with my hands. So now I gotta
you know
use
what?
one
Do
hand.
a
This is
selfie
for
stick.
If you guys had a camera crew, you and Jamel and Terrence, I would watch that show.
Yep.
You guys getting in all kinds of
Yeah.
shenanigans,
I
I
think
would
I would
watch
get.
that.
100.
I need to invest in one of those GoPros to put on my head and just walk around all day
Mhm.
and show everything I do all day. Because literally from the time my feet touch the ground till about 12 o'clock, I'm doing something. Like I'm about to cut somebody's hair right after you guys let me go. You sitting right here, like listen to me. I'm waiting for this haircut.
I want to.
Like,
So you got to post the picture of the fade, though. Want to
Yeah,
see it?
yeah.
Want to see if you get that
yeah,
line
I would
right?
do that.
I want to see if you
I'll
get that
post
line
a
right.
picture of before and
Yep.
after for you guys, and then
Please
you
do.
guys can share and follow it. Share it for me. Then
Got you.
Well, then
Gotcha.
you better not mess up that hairline then, because I don't want to see that.
oh, never a real barber. There's no such thing as messing up. You know what I mean? Because you mess up, but you know how to fix it. Or it
It's
don't
all
let
it's
you
all
mess up.
art. You take the artistic
Gotcha.
approach. Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, it's art. You never mess up. You just make it look like you're supposed to be there.
Man.
There you go. Well, Steven, thank you so much for taking time out and joining us, man. We really do appreciate it, and we can't wait to talk to you again down the road when you have more Twitter followers because you're going to start streaming everything live.
There you
That's
go.
the one thing we're taking away from here. And if you need a haircut, also visit Steven. And also, we're gonna looking forward to a song later down the road because Mr. Herring's already promised it for you to us. So we got to work on a song that you can sing to us.
Oh yeah. I think one song I can really sing right now
Look, you go do it.
is da 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 Tequila. That's an easy song right there. I can do that one.
You know
Anybody
what?
can sing that song.
That was perfect, and I see reality TV in your future, Stephen.
Yep.
Oh,
All right, man. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon down the road.
all right, take care, man.
Yeah, definitely. And make sure y'all share my Twitter so I can get out there.
You got it.
At So Cold Nelson, you can find Stephen Nelson doing all kinds of things, including cutting hair, rewiring a house, dancing,
and cooking
singing,
some shrimp
cooking,
and grits.
doing all that.
Yep.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Yep,
bye now.
appreciate you guys.
Thanks, man. There you go. Stephen So Cold Nelson. The two guys who, no wonder they get along so well.
Yep.
They're such good friends. Jamel Herring and Stephen Nelson, top rank. And
Man.
now we got to talk to Terrence Crawford because I know he's got dirt
Well,
on these guys.
Yeah, you know, I'm just like tripping about the fact they just laid out like half the town, you know, two dudes out there fighting like that. That's
yeah,
some
man.
Jackie Chan, Chris
Speaking
Tucker
of,
stuff.
speaking of West Side Story, right?
Right.
We got to go rumble with some greasy sharks. There you go, man.
Exactly.
Well, that was Levels,
Yeah.
and that was a fun show. So thank you so much for everyone who caught it, watched it this evening. We appreciate you. Share us online.
Yeah.
Come in here like Gorilla Cross Radio too. Quan59. I'm always keeping it real over
Come
there.
through, folks.
Even when he's serenading us with some questionable music in the background, we always appreciate it every single time. I'm Jeremy Long. She's the sportsnista, Cassandra Cousineau.
Hey, hey.
We'll see you next week. Peace.